Hi, Melanie Muenchinger here, illustrator for Gina K Designs. This is my first video of 2015, so Happy New Year. I hope you had a great holiday with your friends and family. I had a great surprise in my mailbox over the weekend. I received the spring issue of Card Maker, and I noticed on just a few pages in on our favorite products section, they actually featured my fabulous frame stamp set. If you've seen any of my videos recently, I've done a lot of projects with this, and there's actually a duo of cards that shows how this is used portrait or landscape style on page 60. This is a great issue. It has a lot of really beautiful spring projects for you to do. Here are the two projects that are featured here, and there's going to be one in a later issue, I believe. So for full details on how to make a card like this one, please check out this magazine by Card Maker. I'm going to go ahead and show another project today with the fabulous frame stamp set. Very simple technique that's been very popular now and is still on trend, the chalkboard technique, or you might hear it called the blackboard technique. Very minimal supplies for this. All you need is just some black cardstock. This is the Gina K Pure Luxury, and a craft pad. This is the Gina K Designs White Premium Pigment Ink. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how easy it is to do the card with this frame. It gives you this beautiful professional looking frame that looks just like signage, and then you can add all these fussy little details with the fabulous frame fillers or the fabulous holiday fillers set. In addition to those tools, you will also need a large block for that frame stamp, excuse me, and you'll need some smaller blocks. You don't need as many as I'm using today, but this is just so I don't have to keep switching my images off the different blocks, but something large enough for that oval and butterfly, and then a long block that you can do the border stamps on. I'm also going to be using just a cosmetic sponge for dabbing on my white to give it a little bit of a messy look. And that's something that is part of the chalkboard technique. Craft ink smears without letting it dry for a while first, or by using a heat tool, or if you want, you can put embossing powder on it to set that, and that really makes the detail pop and you don't have to worry about smearing. But smearing is part of this look, so it looks kind of like a messy blackboard. So I don't have a sponge dauber that is dedicated to white, but I found this is going to remind me that this is my white sponge by just using this cosmetic sponge. If you don't have one of these, then you could just use a paper towel, and you just want to make sure that you're not picking up these edges because you don't want lines. You want it to be smeared, so we're going to go in circles. You might also want to have maybe the Pitt White pen or a gel pen to do your writing on the inside of the card, just because you are going to be using a black base. This is a one-layer card, but you could also line that with a lighter cardstock to do your writing inside. Okay, so this is a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of black cardstock that is scored at 5 1/2, so this is going to be a top full card. And I'm going to go ahead and I am going to put those smeary white on first because I want to keep this crisp. So I don't want to do my smearing afterwards. I'm going to put just some of that hazy white around the borders at the beginning. So I'm just going to kind of wad this up and get some of the white, and I'm just going to smear going in circles along the edges. And remember, you can always go back and add more. If you do get more than you want, it does keep moving around because it's wet. So kind of keep it off the edge of the cardstock so you can see how heavy it's going on. And then later, if you want to add some more in the middle or on the edges, you can. And it's kind of up to you how smeary you want it to look. And if you want to add more color to this card or more dimension to this card, you could trim this down and put it on a different colored base, but just keeping it real simple today. Okay, now let's go ahead and we'll put it like this. And I'm going to ink up my frame. So remember to keep the amount of ink going into the middle sections at a minimum. You want to make sure that your pad is going across two edges of the border rather than going into the middle. Okay, it's a very juicy pad, and you will have to clean your stamps off after you are finished. Doesn't have to be immediately, but it is going to get down into that etching, and it is going to get on your other pads, so you really do have to clean this off. You can't just stamp off the way that you probably do with your water-based ink pads. Okay, so I am just going to put this right over the middle of that and drop it down, press all over. Now you can also do this technique with the Versamark clear watermarking ink and some white embossing powder, but I want to be able to see what I am stamping. Okay, so there is my frame, and now I'm going to add this white dotted border. I'm going to fancy it up now, and this is from the Fabulous Frame Fillers set. So I'm going to put this just at the bottom. And the top. And I'm doing this just so I don't get ink on my fingers, so I am going to tap that off. And I'm going to use the lace border, and this is going to look just like somebody drew some little hand-drawn flowers onto this blackboard. But again, you can use as many of these fillers or as few as you want if you want it to look more clean and simple or really, really detailed chalkboard. I didn't get the top of that quite as much. Let me get just a little more ink here on the top. And that's the great thing about this technique. If you do end up losing a little bit of the image or smearing a little bit of the image, that goes along with the chalkboard theme. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill in these side portions. And this is also from the Fabulous Frame Fillers set, this little belly band with the flowers in it. And this has a really fine detail, so you might lose just a little bit of it because this, like I said, this white pad is so juicy. That's okay. I still like how that looks. Just adding in that coordinating detail to those lace borders. Please pardon my head if I'm getting in the way. Just want to get that lined up. Okay, now I'm going to do this faux lace that I like to do, the scallop border with the butterfly, and this is from the Fabulous Frame stamp set, and you can also make a small lace border like I did on this card with that smaller butterfly. So I'm going to start by stamping that in the middle. Okay, and then I'm going to just cover up the edge of this border so that I can stamp the butterfly next to it to create a scallop. And then I'm going to repeat that on the other side. And just be real careful not to touch your project while it's wet. You might want to go over just a little bit from that edge because it does pick up the thickness of that paper, and then you lose the side of the image if you go right up to it. Okay, and now I am going to add this dotted border in the middle. Okay, and then I'm going to use a greeting from my Fabulous Holiday Fillers set. So this has greetings for all occasions that you can use inside your card or on the outside, and they all fit in that oval. I have a lot of thank you cards that I need to send now after Christmas being over, so I'm going to use this thank you one. It says, "For all you've done, thank you, bless you." Add that just right to the middle there. And the card is complete. So then you would just fold it up. Careful. And then if you want to just set that, hit it with a heat dryer for a few seconds. You can also take your piece of paper and just blot that, and that'll help pick up that stray ink. I hope you try this technique out and also experiment maybe using it on maybe a green to look like a green chalkboard, or even using your pastel chalks and just tapping that onto the white. Embossing powder and pastels do stick to the pigment since this is sticky ink, so that's a lot of variations that you can do. Look like maybe some children's drawings with this technique with the pastels and the white ink. Please enjoy other inspiration and projects on my blog, Hands, Head, and Heart, melaniemuenchinger.blogspot.com, or visit Stamp TV and my YouTube channel for more videos with my stamps. Thank you for watching today.